Today, Heaven joined me for a red makeup look that's inspired by Louis Armstrong's song Kiss of Fire. This look has red glowing cheeks, that blush that extends upwards into the temples, red lips, and a red liner. So if you want to see how we did it, keep on watching. To start, I prepped Heaven's skin by applying Sonia Roselli's Sex Appeal all over her face and massaging that in. Sex Appeal is a light exfoliating spray. It's a gommage type product. It works really well at removing dead skin buildup while also being really gentle. So it's safe to use on expectant mothers, people who have sensitive skin, and people who have rosacea. I removed it with a damp cotton, like it's one of those squishy latex-free cotton rounds. However, you can use a baby wipe or a makeup remover wipe as well. And then I followed that up with Sonia Roselli Water Elixir and Water Oil. Both of those I massaged into her skin. I wanted there to be a lot of glow and a lot of life to her skin for this look. So I made sure to go in with a good bit of skincare just to help, just help that have that shine from within. So I also applied some lip mask so that way her lips would be nice and hydrated for the red lip later. And I'm just testing out the color that I think I'm going to use on her. I mixed this with, this is a Face Atelier foundation mixed with Water Oil and Becca's, oh no, I'm sorry, not Becca. This is Danessa Myricks Liquid Highlight in Serenity. I started to apply that when I remembered, hey, wait a minute, dummy, you do the eyes first. I'm not used to filming people's makeup when I do it, so I stopped doing that and went to the eyes. I started by priming the lid with Urban Decay shadow, the shadow primer. I think it's the shadow potion. And I did conceal her eyes with a Danessa Myricks concealer. However, given the look, I don't think I actually really had to do that, so you can skip this step. For eyeshadow, I'm going in with the Anastasia Beverly Modern Renaissance, and then I set underneath the brow bone and that inner third with the Tempera color. I think that's how it's pronounced. Whatever. And then I started creating this kind of wing shape by mixing Venetian red and red ochre together. I'm buffing that pretty much all over the whole lid, but I am concentrating it more on that outer corner and that outer V. So I'm going to go on to the other side in a minute and blend that out too. So that way it's not super, super bright, just like a fade of color. Also, I do want to apologize for the lighting. I didn't realize that the open window I had was really affecting the lighting so much, which is why you're going to see it bouncing back and forth from this kind of patchy lighting to how it looks with me on the other side of her. It looks a lot more clear and even. So I do apologize about that, and my next videos won't have this issue. However, once I did that, I left out around the edges and around the red shadow before going in with a black gel liner. I'm creating a wing with this, but I'm not being super precise with it because I am going to go over it with a bright red shadow. The shadow I'm using is the red shade from the Viseart Editorial Brights palette. This I'm working over top that liner, kind of smudging out the lash line and extending the wing. You are going to see it kind of creates a cool gradient effect because obviously it's darkest where I had the black gel liner, but I also apply it outside of that so it gets a little bit brighter once it doesn't have that black base. It looks pretty cool and really interesting, and I enjoyed the look a lot. So you can see the lighting here is better because I'm blocking the window. Too bad I didn't realize that in the hour I was filming this. But regardless, I'm not being super precise or worrying about the underneath of the wing because I am going to sharpen that up and clean it up with the Sonia Roselli Water Balm on a Q-tip. So right now I'm just creating the wing shape that I want. I'm bringing the liner and the shadow into the inner corner. And then I am going to take just the red alone and kind of create like a V shape in that outer corner. I'm not going in with black gel liner first there. You definitely could do that, but I wasn't looking to go that dark on the eyes. So I just went in with the red because I really wanted there to be like a pop of bright red. And then I was just taking more of those same colors, the Venetian red and the red ochre, and just applying it until I was happy with the shade. And then I went in with more of the tempera and some of the color, which is it, Primavera. Jeez, Katie, you can't. I guess I can't read today. Then I went in with the shimmer shade Primavera on top of that. So once I was done, I applied water balm on a Q-tip underneath the eyes, and that's what I use to clean up the wing before going in with the rest of the foundation. I was not building a full coverage look, so I was just applying a little bit of the foundation, which again, as I said, was sheared out using water, oil, and liquid highlight. And I'm just applying that all over until I'm happy with the coverage and the shine she has. And then I'm going in with some Danessa Myricks Concealer underneath her eyes and just on a couple of little bits of redness she has around her face. And again, making sure that's all blended in really well. Oh, I lied. Actually, that's not what I did. I went in with some of the foundation that I used underneath her eyes before I went in with the concealer. So that was actually just a little bit of the foundation mix I had. And now I'm taking a darker foundation, the Still Face Atelier, and this is in the shade 12. And I'm just using this to contour slash bronze around her face, doing her cheekbones and above her forehead right there. She did have more she had a darker perimeter to her face, so I was going to do that anyway with a darker shade, but I figured I would just go straight in with like a bronzer slash contour shade. So next I'm going in with Ben Nye. This is a cream contour cream blush palette, excuse me. I'm going with a bright red shade, and I also mixed that with more of the Danessa Myricks Serenity highlight. And I'm applying that really very heavily to her cheeks and going up the temples and over the brows. I wanted this to be a super red flushed look. So that's what I'm doing. I am going to go in with concealer underneath her eyes in just a minute. And this is a mistake that I made actually because I applied the concealer under her eyes. I extended it towards her temples, but I forgot to go back over that area with more of the blush because I was trying to create a connected look. This is my first time, I guess I should say, filming on a client and not on myself or, a model. So I definitely did things a little bit out of order than I normally would, and there's a couple of things I didn't realize at the time. But if you are looking to recreate this look, make sure that if you extend your concealer out, you go back in with more blush. I don't think that it looked bad, but it just wasn't the exact look that I was going for in my mind when she left and I was going back and looking at the photos and looking at the footage later. But once I've applied the concealer, I'm blending it using my fingers. I like to use my fingers because I feel like the warmth of my fingers really blends the product in really well and also helps pick up any excess. So I'm setting underneath her eyes with Makeup Atelier loose powder. I am not trying to bake. I just accidentally put too much on. So you'll see this side here is the actual amount of powder I was looking to apply. It's not a big deal though because the rest of the powder it brushed away. So I'm setting mainly around the chin, the nasolabial folds there where makeup is more likely to crease, and then brushing away the excess loose powder, and I set very, very lightly across her whole face with a fluffy brush. So then I'm taking a little bit of that red ochre and Venetian red shadow mix and applying that just underneath the eyes. I'm going in with a mix of two bronzer shades that I have in my kit. I don't know the names anymore, but your favorite bronzer will do. It has just a golden shimmer. I mixed two shades to create a golden shimmery shade. And then I went over top of that with the Balm's Mary Lou Manizer highlight before going in with blush. Now the blush that I'm using today is from the Stilazzi Barbados palette. I mixed the bright orange that you just got to peek with the dark red or the darker burgundy color. And as you can see, I applied that to the apples of her cheeks, going up the temples to the brows. And now I'm going in with just a clean brush to make sure everything is blended really well. For her brows, all I did was I took some Anastasia Beverly Hills Dipbrow and I rubbed it on a spoolie. And then I rubbed and brushed the spoolie through her brows. I am cleaning up underneath the brows with just a little bit of leftover concealer that I have on the back of my hand. Not much, and I'm not going over top. I did curl her lashes, and then I applied a good coat of mascara. This is the Covergirl, the one in the orange tube. I'm pretty sure it's everybody's favorite Covergirl mascara. But I did that after curling them. And then that's when I started to get her lashes ready. For lashes, I'm using the Kiss lashes in the style Shy. So what you see me here doing is measuring the lashes against her lid, just seeing if they're too long, if I need to trim them at all, so that way they wear comfortably and they look well. I didn't have to trim these were actually the perfect length for her. And then once I did that and realized they were good, I applied some lash glue. I apply the lash glue and then I will put the lashes back on their tray or on a palette so the glue can get a bit more tacky before I put them on. And then I'll do some finishing work, blending, adding more shadow here, more blush here if I need to. But once I have those on, I like to let them dry a little bit more. And once I'm not worried about them popping off, I'll go in with the lash curler again and really clamp them with the natural lashes and make sure that they're not moving anywhere and there's no gaps. Now for those beautiful red lips that we did, I went in with Limelife's Cherry Pie. It's a liquid lipstick, and I applied this all over her lips. I think I did 2 coats of this before I went in with a second color. The second color is Devil's Food, and it's a darker burgundy red. I didn't apply that everywhere. I kind of kept it focused on the outer edges. You could do either of these. You could do whichever one you wanted to do first. I didn't want it to be too dark. I wanted it to be more of a bright, really noticeable standout red. So I went in with this first because I knew I could be able to darken up as I wanted just by adding a little bit of the dark color at a time. I didn't want to overdo it with that color. I just wanted to add a little bit of a dimension. So once I finished applying it, then I went in with a pointy Q-tip and just cleaned up any excess red around her lips, and then went in with a little bit more of that leftover concealer on a brush just to fix any smudges or anything that didn't look right. Now, as you saw, I didn't only use creams and liquids on Heaven, I also used a lot of powders. There a variety of powders. I didn't pack any powder on, but still I wanted this to be really glowy look. So I'm going in with more of that water oil on a disposable cosmetic wedge. I kind of squish the oil into the sponge a bit and then just pounce that on the face. It helps just to pick up any of the excess powder and kind of give new life and revitalize it. It doesn't disturb the makeup underneath, but it makes sure you don't have a powdery look and like you didn't, powder away the glow that you had. So at first I thought that I was done, which is why I sprayed her with Blue Marble setting spray. Then I realized, no, there's more I want to do. So I went in with a melt liner. This is the brown color. I'm going to have to check the name. And I applied that into the waterline as you saw. Now I'm going in with a clean lip brush and I'm just blending those 2 reds together. I want to make sure there's no streakiness, that the lip line is nice and crisp, and that just overall the lip looks really well before I go in and top it with gloss. And the gloss I'm going to be using is one of the Viseart lip oils. I'll write the name down below, but I mean, you can see the shine there. It's absolutely amazing. So I applied that all over the lips, and then I think that I do that. Yeah. Next, I started going in with a little bit more of that highlighter that I used. So I'm actually using it underneath the brow bone, and you can see me kind of following underneath the wing that I did with her shadow and that little bit of liner. So I thought that it kind of crisped it up even more, especially after all the blending that I did earlier. And I kind of just like the way it looks, it's not super intense. It's not like a white line underneath the liner. But when she turns her head a certain way, you kind of get this extra shimmer right there where the wing is and the shadow is. And it looks really pretty. So I also applied a little bit more highlight to her cheeks and right in her cupid's bow. And then I just blended, and she was finally done. This was my first time filming on somebody who's not myself, and we had a lot of fun. There's definitely things that I do a little bit differently when I'm not filming, because I'm not used to this, but she was great. We had a lot of fun doing this, and I can't wait to do more videos for everybody, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. She was laughing there because I told her to smile at the ceiling like there was a ghost, and she's like, yeah, no, I don't like that energy. But yeah, I guess I need to think of something else to say to people, huh? But if you recreate this, please tag me in my social media and have a good day.